Good morning, students. How are you all? Hope you have done with the daffodils. Have you tried to answer the workbook exercises, the reference to context? Okay, only to check your answers. Today we'll just discuss the question answers. Okay, I'll read the question and give you some hint, some tips to the answer. So you will write them in the copy. Okay. So take your workbook page number 94, right? So the first one is in reference to the first stanza. The first question, who has been referred to as I in the first line of the extract? I wandered lonely as a cloud. Where do you think was he wandering? Okay. Now who is it I here? The poet William Wordsworth himself has been referred to as I. And now, where is he wandering? From the background of the poem, it can be deducted, it can be seen that the poet William Wordsworth was wandering near a lake at Grasmere in England. Grasmere in England. Now the second question. What does the poet encounter while wandering? Where does he encounter them? What is he while wandering? What did he encounter? He encountered a large number of golden daffodils. Where? He encounters them beside a lake and beneath the trees. Coming to the third question. Why do you think the poet refers to the daffodils as golden? Why does he refer them as golden? The poet refers to daffodils as golden to symbolize the magical effect it creates in his heart and mind. Now, the fourth question. Discuss the importance of the following lines with reference to the poem. Beside the lake, beneath the trees. Now, what is it, children? It was a beautiful scene of nature, isn't it? There was a lake and there were trees and the daffodils were happily dancing in the breeze. The poet sees the daffodils growing along the margin of a bay. And these lines, poet personify the beautiful daffodils. And he says that they appear to be dancing and fluttering in the breeze. These lines are important as it was the daffodils' lively appearance that captivated the poet. Now the fifth question. Which figure of speech is used in the following lines? The lines are, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils. So the figure of speech is, for sure, it is hyperbole. How many daffodils do you think the poet saw? How many do you think? The poet saw a huge cluster of daffodils along the riverside, beside the lake and beneath the trees, which can be deducted as the words used here are crowd and host. Moreover, in an exaggeration or in a hyperbolic expression, he later said, 10,000 saw I at a glance. So how many daffodils do you think he saw? 10,000 daffodils I saw at a glance. Now, coming to the second extract, that is continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way, they stretched in never-ending line along the margin of a bay. 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their heads in sprightly dance. So here the first question is how are the daffodils compared to the stars? Now, how are they compared, children? Okay, how are they compared? It is the poet used here the simile, isn't it? He has compared himself to a wandering cloud that is away from the landscape. And in the first, he also says it represents the idea of seclusion that the poet is feeling. And then the daffodils is compared to that of the stars on the Milky Way. As infinite number of stars shine on the Milky Way, so a multitude of golden daffodils grow along the edge of the lake. Now, what is the Milky Way and why is it referred to in the extract? Now, a Milky Way is the galaxy of stars, and that stretches like a band across the sky. Now, it is referring to what? It is compared to the infinite number of stars. Okay, the daffodils are being compared to the infinite number of stars. What is meant by the margin of the bay here? What is meant here? Margin of the bay is compared to in the case of a lake, bay or a natural pond. The margin means the line where land and water meet. The daffodils in the poem in the shore is like margin of the lake. Now, in the next question, state how the technique of using exaggeration heightens the poetic effect in the extract. How is that? The state how the technique of using exaggeration heightens the poetic effect in the extract. So, poet really using the exaggeration to emphasize the large number of daffodils that he saw during his walk along the river, and the exaggeration of daffodils stretched endlessly in a never-ending line along the margin of a bay is beautiful. The use of such exaggerations thus heightens the poetic effect. Briefly describe the musical quality of the extract. Do you find any kind of musical quality, children? Yeah, here the Milky Way is the galaxy that contains a solar system. From Earth it appears as a band of light in the night sky. It is referred to in the extract to draw out a comparison between a crowd of beautiful daffodils indistinguishable from each other and a continuous band of twinkling stars in the night sky. These all add musical quality in the extract. Now the next one, the third. How did the daffodils outdo the waves? How did the daffodils outdo the waves, children? Waves are really beautiful, isn't it? Now here the daffodils are much par excellent in comparison to that of the waves. So the water in the lake had ripples looking like waves dancing. Usually the waves look like dancing. The daffodils tossing and dancing like human beings seem to be competing against these waves. And according to William Wordsworth, the daffodils defeated the waves in glee. What is meant by the jocund company? What do you mean by jocund company? Means a happy and gleeful or joyful company. Which jocund company is the poet referring to? The poet is referring to the jocund company of thousands of golden daffodils. Why does the poet find it jocund? The beautiful daffodils dancing before the poet captivated him, attracted him. It made him happy and refreshed. It also made him feel one with the nature. That is why he finds their company jocund. And even he could come out of his pensive mood. Which wealth is referred to by the poet? explain how the wealth was brought to the poet. What is the wealth here? The wealth refers to the peace and happiness that the encounter with the daffodils brought into the life of poet. Something he could not acknowledge at the very moment. And the wealth was brought to William Wordsworth when he encountered the golden daffodils, surpassing the beauty of even the dancing waves. What is the mood of the poet in the above extract? Which lines tell you so? Why is he in such mood? What kind of mood? Okay, what is the mood of the poet in the above extract? Now we know in the beginning, the poet is in a happy and cheerful mood. Okay, the poet is in a happy and cheerful mood. He himself reflects his happiness in the following line. A poet could not but be gay in such a jocund company. So we find the feeling of oneness with nature that the poet has experienced on seeing lively dancing daffodils, and that is the reason for his happy mood. With a reference to the above extract, state why Wordsworth can be called a nature poet. Because why? The vast belt of the daffodils tossing their heads in sprightly dance attracts him, captivates him. And the daffodils even outdo the waves in glee. This golden company makes the poet feel happy, one with the nature, and he could even be out from his pensive mood. And so we can conclude that Wordsworth can be called a nature poet. Now coming to the last extract. What's the first question, children? What happens to the poet when he lies down on his couch in a pensive mood? What happens to him? When the poet lies down on his couch in pensive mood, what comes to him is the images of the golden daffodils flash before him and change his mood into a happy one. What is the bliss of solitude? What is the bliss of solitude? It is referred to the paradise the poet finds himself in as soon as the image of golden daffodils flashes back before his eyes. How does the bliss of solitude take place? Now, his loneliness is overtaken by the images of the daffodils, which makes him feel as if he were dancing along with the daffodils. Explain the transition from poet's pensive mood to his heart filled with joy. Okay, how is it expressed? Explain transition in what is the question? Explain transition from poet's pensive mood to his heart filled with the joy, from pensive to happy mood. How can you explain this transition, children? So the nature influence him, isn't it? Okay, here the daffodils are described as the healing and refreshing power of nature. The poet says that when he lies down on his couch in a pensive mood, the images of the golden daffodils flashes before him and it changes his mood. The poet who was lonely in the beginning, lonely like a cloud he was wandering, experiences the bliss of solitude by the end, by encountering with the golden daffodils. He then feels calm and refreshed. This shows that how nature influences him and give him a kind of transformation. Now, with reference to the last two lines of the extract, state the influence that nature can have over an individual's mind. So you can write in your own words also. So the nature becomes a positive force for the poet. When the poet lies in his couch in a contemplating mood, the image of dancing daffodils flashes before him, and he gets the bliss of solitude. He is filled with happiness. And so we can say the very thought of being in the lap of nature uplifts the spirit of the poet. Not only the poet uplifts the spirit of man. Now the last question, Wordsworth says that poetry is the overflow of feelings arising from emotions recollected in tranquility. In this context, state how the poem shows the truth of his statement. You should write in your own words, children. Write, refer to the poetic theory of Wordsworth, and write in your own words. How do you find Wordsworth poetry as the overflow of feelings? Write in your own words. So, I hope you have understood what the answers to these questions. Write your own. All the best. I should see them written in the